Hey, welcome to episode 76 of the Gundam Explain podcast. Good to see everyone. The chat's already going crazy. Steven, glad you're here. It seems like we just spoke.
Does seem like that, doesn't it?
In fact, yesterday on your stream, we went over those Gundam encyclopedias, which are sick. Link in the description. I'm now like obsessed. I'm like shopping for them.
Oh yeah. See, that's why in the description I was like, let's make Adam jealous because I
I know,
know
I
that this.
love that because I was like, where is he really going with this? But no, once you go through it, that's like exactly the type of thing I need. Exactly. For those listening, as always, once there's some little technical difficulty, you just let me know and I'll do what I can to fix it. Should be good though. But yeah, looking at the chat real quick, we got Robert, Ian, Lucas Garrett, Brian Zanichelli, Jedi Sela, Gundam Wing. Let's see who else. Oh, that's it so far. Really? That's it. Wow. Thanks, guys. No, I'm joking. No, awesome that you guys are here. It's kind of cool just because it's like been the holidays, even though these Thursdays have kind of fallen on days where it's like, yeah, I can still do these lives, and I'm glad Steven can too because Steven, you really make these podcasts what they are. I appreciate it.
I don't know about that.
No,
But,
it's true.
no, I appreciate it. I thank you for letting me come on here and run my mouth and sing the song of Zeta.
Oh, exactly. I mean, it's exactly what I think makes this work out. So, yeah. So, what are we going to talk about today? Well, I put up a poll on Twitter that we'll get to shortly about. I was just comparing three characters that I thought were very popular characters from Witch from Mercury. So popular that I thought it would be interesting to see how people would vote on what's their favorite. But also, we're going to go into things that are going to start coming out in 2023 for Gundam, which is pretty cool. So Gundam is, still riding high, has a lot of cool stuff coming out here soon. Other than that, before we get started, Steven, anything cool Gundam related you got into this week or worked on? Or...
I mentioned last week that I've been, obviously on the big Christmas stream spectacular that there's a lot of different Gundam projects that I've got in the works, and
Yeah.
which kind of ties into why I brought out those encyclopedias yesterday, and wanted to show those off because some things come up sometimes, and you have to have some reference material. So let's just say there's some things that I'm working on that are hopefully going to be exciting for people, and there might be some dice rolling involved.
Nice. Yeah, that was 2 streams ago on your channel. So if you guys haven't watched it yet, the streams are always fascinating. 2 streams ago, he was going over some projects that are just mind blowing that he can come up with. So pretty cool stuff.
Yeah,
and that brings up something because I've learned through you how cool it is where like you can take a video game, take kind of the rules and apply it to board games, tabletop. And in Discord, Dan Vince was talking about like Lovecraftian stuff, like how there's that sort of mind based sort of attribute, like you kind of go insane or whatever.
yeah, the
And
sanity like mechanic.
sanity, there you go. And I was wondering, off the top of your head, if you know this, like I went onto the Bloodborne game wiki and it was actually giving stats for that sort of thing. Is it that simple where you could take that and then just throw it into a spreadsheet? Or because that's more of a real-time action game, would there be more you would have to then break down?
No, I mean theoretically speaking, you could do that. There's obviously like the Call of Cthulhu game. There's
Oh,
the
yeah.
Delta Green kind of like a modern Call of Cthulhu. I've got a buddy over on my Discord server, Meatman, who made a Halo tabletop RPG game based off of those Call of Cthulhu rules and utilized that sanity mechanic as kind of like marine morale.
Oh, I was thinking like Gravemind
So
and Flood, but that was just for morale based, which that
yeah,
makes
but,
sense
I
because if you're
mean
around the Spartans or not, the Marines may act differently.
exactly. And
That's
so
pretty
yeah, I
cool.
mean, and basically that whole game, he was like, well, you're playing as Marines, not Spartans. So if you see the flood, you're either running or you're dead.
Okay, that's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah. So there's some fun stuff you can do with those types of mechanics, and that's something interesting that you could explore on the Gundam side too. You know, maybe cyber new types have a sanity score.
Yeah, especially when it comes to like a new type or NTD system. Also, because when I
Hmm.
was doing the research for that Phoenix video, I mean, some of the stuff I already knew, but I was putting in more context how, like, Jonah Basta, he was piloting the narrative. When the narrative sensed the Phoenix, it went into its new type destroyer mode, but he didn't want it to. So that would be a neat sort of attribute to have in a Gundam where your character can't really control what it's doing. Maybe it requires how you communicate with the players to
Yeah,
then make it work for you. So yeah, that stuff gets pretty deep.
yeah, you can have a lot of fun with that kind of stuff. So
Lucas Garrett is saying now that would be an interesting concept. New type meets Event Horizon horror mechanics, and
I love Event Horizon.
yeah, I love Event Horizon. In fact, I watched. I had seen it before. I kind of understood what cosmic horror was really. That almost that, and then seeing black metal album covers, and then that game Brutal Legend. I don't know if you ever played that.
Yes,
Where
I
there's the
haven't played it, but I've seen.
Okay.
Yeah,
There's a level where it's playing Cradle of Filth metal. It's like fast, scary metal, and everything looks like Hellraiser. And then it just came to me like, oh, cosmic horror is this like Hellraiser meets Lovecraft and even Evil Dead with Necronomicon and all that.
yeah.
And that would be cool. Like I feel like Gundam Thunderbolt almost gets into that with that second second was it December Sky. Bandit Flower?
Bandit Flower. Yeah,
Yeah.
Bandit Flower's the second anime.
Because, yeah, they take that concept of new type and they kind of have a cult around it. I think cult lends itself to Lovecraftian stuff.
True.
Like Dead Space, Lucas Garrett is saying. Yeah, that's
That's another. Yeah.
yeah, another good one, which that remake is coming out next year in January. That'll be fun. But you know what? I think there are times where, Gundam, you see Gundam being mature the way it is, the mature themes. There's times where it can't explore that. And I even think there's room, even in current UC, even based on things you see in narrative, like fusing to a Phoenix, where the new type or experimenting with new type would unlock some demonic realm in a way, or more of the negative side of a psychomu wave or brainwave. So
Yeah,
yeah.
well, and I think that there's probably a little bit of that going on, especially when you consider Tomino's other work, Space Runway, Ideon. Like Ideon is cosmic horror. Like, you're
Oh,
talking about giant robotic gods and like the unmaking of mankind and these types of, really insane themes. And oh man, that's a whole other head trip.
okay.
But
I'm gonna check that
if
out.
it's from the same mind as the guy that created Mobile Suit Gundam, then
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check that out. I remember I started it, but then there's just so much anime. Like I'm watching that. Oh, what is it called? Everyone's talking about it in the chat, Dakugan, or not in the chat, but in Discord. It was an 86. I'm on like the third episode, and it's like not bad. It does kind of cosmic horror-y stuff. It's not bad, but it's like not like. But you know what? I've noticed that with anime sometimes, or any show, the first few episodes, even the first half of a season, sometimes it's like, I don't care yet. Which reminds me of Community. When that show first came out and I watched the first episode, I was like, this isn't for me. They're
yeah,
just making little jokes here and there. But now I'm into season 2 and I missed out. And I think you had mentioned you hadn't seen it, right? Just your wife?
yeah. My wife got me into Community, well
Oh.
after the show
Oh,
ended.
so you
So,
did watch it.
mhm,
Okay.
yeah,
Because the writing, I'm surprised sometimes how good it is, and like it's layered where here's a joke, but if you know something, the joke goes deeper, and
yeah,
I love that. The only times I would complain about the show is when, and I like that it has a message usually by the end, but sometimes you can tell that they wrote the message first and then wrote the episode backwards, and then it's like,
yeah,
what are they trying to get to? Yeah, that's
yeah.
otherwise.
That's always unfortunate.
Yeah, otherwise I'm shocked how good the writing is.
Hmm.
Oh, Mad Dog Wheaton, I just saw it. Or even Painkiller Gundam, which is definitely a
That's
reference to my favorite metal album, Painkiller by Judas Priest. Not only is that my favorite metal album, that's probably one of my favorite albums of all time. That Judas Priest Painkiller album is just epic.
But what do you think about the Painkiller Gundam?
I don't know about that. Is it really a Painkiller Gundam? Let's look it up. Um, I don't think so. I don't think so. I might have to. Yeah, that might be the. I mean, maybe that's Matt's fanfic right there, and we do like a because the album
That's
art
Monday's
too.
lore video.
Yeah, yeah, and the album art too for the Judas Priest albums lend to that kind of '80s metallic robotic look. I think it's like built in there. Man, I love Painkiller. Oh, hey, Zionic Shadow, good to see you. Adam is so gullible. Yeah, sometimes I can be. That is for sure. Let's see. I thought I saw something else. Adam, I always knew you had impeccable taste in music, but now I'm starting to wonder if we're separated at birth. Yeah, you know what? There's
Maybe
something
so.
to that sometimes where when you meet people online and you have these like interests that are the same, and it's like, what? You exist? How could that happen over long distances?
Right.
Yeah, that's cool. Oh, you know what? Lucas Garrett brought up something about Warhammer 40K because I got into that from playing the Dawn of War RTS games on PC, and played Space Marine, and that's kind of where it stopped. But because like I heard the Henry Cavill movie thing, and then
Yeah.
another YouTuber talked about how he started looking up lore, and then now all of his videos are lore suggestions for Warhammer 40, and that happened to me.
And
I
there's a
watched
lot.
this guy's video where it was like an hour of him going through the basics, but it was an hour, and I love the cosmic horror elements and how they explain it.
Oh yeah.
The warp or whatever. That great idea. Great idea.
Oh, absolutely. It's got big Doom vibes.
Yeah, yeah. Man, yeah, I love that stuff. It's funny how, yeah, growing up, getting into these IPs, not realizing there's kind of it's kind of its own category of fiction. You know, like yeah, you don't really realize that when you're trying to search it out. Because I remember when I first got into Judas Priest Painkiller, I would search songs like Painkiller. I could never find anything, but I had to be very deliberate with the searching. You know, the type of
Right.
the type of double bass drumming and the guitar playing, and then it's like, oh, okay,
Yeah, and then you kind of have to like start to narrow down, okay, well, what is it about this music that I like? Is it the melodies? Is it the rhythm? You know, what is it that's drawing me in? And then identify that. And honestly, there's no algorithm in the world that can really
no.
give you the recommendations that you want. And you know, God bless YouTube for trying, but like, you
Even
know,
Spotify can't. Spotify can get close. And it happened by me getting into like Judas Priest helped me understand I like black metal, but I didn't know I liked black metal until I listened to this black thrash band called Skeleton Witch, and I was like, okay, I like their sound. And then my brother's like, oh, that's like black metal. And then the double bass, the high pitched
yeah,
vocals. I was like, oh, you know. But enough of being inside
always
my
nice.
head. That's no. I'm gonna move on real quick. Where was that window at? Okay. Oh, didn't mean it to do that, but it looks cool. Okay. So just double checking. I switched scenes, and it's like, oh, I hope the audio isn't messed up.
Oh yeah,
But
check, check. Do I sound like a robot?
yeah, you guys let us know if he has turned into a robot or not. Okay. So what I wanted to get into, let me procure my old type
There
glasses.
you
Oh,
go.
thank you, Ian. Ian is always on point, helping us out. And
Yeah,
Salem, thank you. Okay.
appreciate it.
Where's that window? All right. So actually, let me start with this one. I asked from the list below which I had to space that out. It would be confusing. Which
Which?
Mercury character is your favorite? And so 38 votes, which that seems low, but Suletta at 60, so she won. And then Chuchu's at 34. That was, and I think being that she's not a primary character, that's pretty high up there. And then Miorine at
I'm
5.3.
I'm so disappointed in the Zeeg New York crew for not coming through for Chuchu.
I mean, I'm surprised that it got that high for Chuchu, even though she's cool. But I think this really says a lot because Chuchu has a strong presence in that episode or in the show in general.
She does, yeah, absolutely.
And I like Miorine a lot actually, but it's just like Miorine and Suletta are like almost two of a kind, and it's just Suletta just has that extra to her because she's a unique character in anime or Gundam from what I've watched.
True. Yeah, she is probably single-handedly the most unique Gundam protagonist
Yeah,
because you go through like all of UC and basically all of them are just Amuro clones, right? Like,
yeah, that's
I
true.
mean,
The little and sometimes like when you get to like Hero and Setsuna, how they're kind of like the same.
yep.
Um, and it's cool. It's funny because then I wanted to do examples from screenshots, and I have this Suletta, and I called her Sorcerer Supreme because she's doing like the hand thing.
Yeah,
Reminds me of yeah,
some
exactly.
multiverse of madness.
Doctor Strange, but also she's a witch
Yeah.
potentially or not. I don't know. They still haven't really explained exactly what that refers to, but we'll find out.
Well, it's like you said, anime. It could be episode 50 or so that we start to really get into the
Yeah,
plot.
yeah. And then Choo, I didn't have my coffee yet. I call it that's that kind of personality there. And then the inner voice, because it's like the way Mjolnir talks to like Suletta, I feel like that's like the inner voice of yourself sometimes when but they're just really cool characters. I never thought that I would spend my time dissecting characters as much as it would be giant robots doing this channel. But I'm impressed. Really awesome that I found this.
Yeah.
Lucas Garrett saying perhaps her mother is the witch. Yeah, I can't wait when they explore that. There's something going on there.
Her mother is a something that rhymes with witch. Yeah.
That was pretty good. Oh, Neon Wave. Choo-Choo's punch was so powerful it cemented her spot in people's hearts. Yeah.
It's true.
There's something cool about those angry characters. Because there was another one, I forget her name off the top of my head, that was part of the group, the Spacians specifically, and then there's that new one. I think it's Sophie, the new one from the Earth group that was on Earth. That's in one of the Gundams. They have like the slanted eyes, like they're supposed to look evil.
Yeah.
Very menacing. They do a good job with that. But I guess, Steven, what would your favorite character be? Is it Choo Choo?
Oh yeah, I voted for Choo Choo.
Oh, you did? Oh, okay, cool. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
For me, it would be Suletta, and I don't know if that's because I'm kind of basic like that, or it's just because it's a pretty cool character. I'm shocked watching Gundam that we get like the main pilot like this. It's cool.
Like I said, it's definitely unique to have a Gundam protagonist that is not as sure of themselves as Suletta is. Most of the Gundam pilots are, even if they have doubts about why they're doing what they're doing, there's never any doubt about their abilities.
Right. Exactly.
And so it's very interesting to me that, Suletta kind of walks into this situation and she's, oh, I don't know. There's all these crazy Gundam pilots around. And then she's zipping around with her Gundams. And you're like, what
Yeah.
are you afraid of? You're
Yeah. It's like not only how she interacts with people, but then when she's in the Gundam, and sometimes I wonder how much of the aerial is really just the aerial doing it. It's just she knows she has Suletta in her, so she's just taking care of her.
protective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that.
It's very
Yeah,
cool.
so and that was what was cool about that last episode was how it didn't have any action. And
Yeah.
I mean slightly because we're seeing kind of the takeover aspect of that cargo ship, but I was just so enthralled by like how it was setting everything up, and it wasn't like they were doing anything outrageous, like the idea of being able to darken the comms so that they can sneak in, destroy a cell block. Like that's really cool, kind of grounded sci-fi stuff. But it's like the characters that are in that situation. We just saw Suletta and Mjolnir kind of make up,
Yeah.
and so that has got to change right then. The like Suletta's ability, her motivation to like be a badass at that moment. Yeah. And Zionic Shadow, Choo Choo is definitely from the Bronx. It's been Sieg New York approved. Nice. Yeah, that is cool.
100%.
Well, cool. Yeah, and then moving on.
Which that said, I hope that is, something that they take forward in, the English dub version if and when it comes out. Is I hope that we see that thick Bronx accent on Choo Choo.
You know,
Do
that's
you ever
very
do you ever
interesting.
find yourself wondering like, ooh, I'm watching this anime in Japanese. I wonder what the American voice actor would sound like.
Shara is like the first one that I thought. I remember when I first heard her speaking, I was like, I'd love to hear the American dub of that character. Also, um, it was it the one in um Victory Gundam? But I forget her name. It's one of the bad guy girls in Victory Gundam that's under that one. We got to dive into more. I can't call out
Yeah.
characters off the top of my head. Yeah. Um.
Not one
Yeah.
of the Bikini Kill Squad,
No.
right?
No. No. That's funny though. No. Yeah. It's Yeah. There was a character. No, not Kajina. It's one of the bad guys from the start. She has a very distinct Japanese voice that always stood out, and I
Mm.
was like, wow, how? Because like, not that. Yeah, you sometimes wonder. You hear the voice so much in Japanese sometimes, like you might not understand what they're saying, but you can hear it. You can hear it, and I don't know if that's because that's just a distinct voice, or is the acting coming through? I wish sometimes I could appreciate the Japanese acting. It's just
Yeah.
I can't. Yeah, that's something. Maybe one day, once I become fluent in Japanese, I don't know. Um,
Give it some
okay.
time. Some Duolingo.
Yeah, you know what? I started that after day 2, never touched it, and it would remind me all the time. And I'm
My
like,
streak.
yeah. Um, and just real quick, I was just talking about the Phoenix earlier. GBO2, it is out. You can attempt to get it. And I had a video released on it, and fortunate Bandai Namco. Did I say it right that time? Yes,
You
I
did
did.
it.
I did it. Thank you. They let me kind of make. It's really limited what we can kind of do early, but it's a video I got to make and release, and they even told me I could do better. And they were even saying it in terms of like my lore videos, because I kind of made it just a general, here's the stuff. And I guess they were like, no, make it like your lore videos. So then I did the lore video, but next time the idea would be when there's a suit that they give us early access to, I'm just going to make it a badass lore video. They just want the normal
Yeah.
Gundam Explain thing, which I appreciate. It motivated
That's
me,
sweet.
really. But anyway, it's out and it's pretty cool because it has some neat abilities because it's the new type destroyer. You can like replenish health and stuff.
That's pretty
Sonic
sweet.
Shadow saying I don't want it, and to be honest, I kind of don't care either. It looks cool. If I got it, great, but I like the very grounded looking suits. That's my thing.
Yeah. Yeah. The chrome paint just turns me off.
Yeah, I got the, what was it, the Blue Destiny Unit 3 in the game, and so I just put the decals on it to make it look like the Gunpla. So that's kind of my thing on that. All right, I'm gonna move on here. Okay, so I asked 6 days ago, what Gundam stuff are you looking forward to in 2023? So this could be anime, games, Gunpla, figures. I jokingly said waifus, but not jokingly.
I mean,
Okay, we get from Joshua Chong, looking forward to Witch from Mercury Part 2 and more new kits from the series. That's a good one.
yep.
From our very own Ian, looking forward to learning more about Gunpla and any other Gundam stuff that comes out along the way. It's a good time to be a Gundam fan, actually.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff.
Especially Gunpla, because
Yeah.
I mean the designs on some of these Witch from Mercury suits has been pretty sweet.
Yeah.
And hopefully they will continue to advance the high grade line.
Yeah. Because it makes it where those high grades just turn out pretty nice. And then the Spicer, for sure, looking forward to Witch from Mercury Part 2 in April, and hopefully some new suits in Gundam Evolution. That's a good point. Gundam Evolution expanding because it's released, free to play, PC, consoles now. What is their plan for next year? Will they? Because sometimes I love these live service games because they'll sometimes totally like Star Wars Battlefront 2, for instance. First came out, but then over time they made that game badass. So I hope Evolution gets the same treatment. The Shirt Lad. More UC Gunpla, as always, a chance to possibly play GBO2 on my platform of choice, and take the lovely Zaku Flipper out for a spin. Perhaps some more PC ports too. That's Copium and my attachment to old Gundam games speaking. Well, a
Yeah.
lot of good points there because we saw this year that they are expanding platforms they put Gundam games on. I want to say like Evolution is the first Xbox game since the 360.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I would even argue like hardly that because the 360 only had like the Dynasty Warrior
Yeah.
series. Like it didn't even have like a true Gundam game.
Although it did have one. Actually, wait, this new Xbox did get SD Gundam Battle Alliance. I forgot. But
True.
I do have a game. What is it called? I don't know. Has a GM on the cover. It was for the 360 Japanese only. And it was an online game.
No,
Yeah. And I've never played it. I just bought it because it was like
I
cheap
remember that.
just to add to my collection.
Now
I might
look, I'll be the first one to like eat crow on what I said because I have been saying all year like y'all are crazy. There is no way that GBO is coming to Steam. Like there's no way that Bandai's going to make money off of it. So why would they do it? And so hey, I've never been happier to be wrong.
Yeah.
I'll admit my when I've made a bad call.
Dude, there was a moment with me too where it seemed like it wasn't going to come out on PC, and I was pretty disappointed. And that's what kind of was like, well, I now have SD Gundam Battle Alliance, and I just kind of forgot about GBO2. But I got to say, when it comes to free-to-play games, the number of suits they release. But here's another thing. So I am in a small group with Bandai Namco, like of the Gundam influencers, whatever. And there are guys in there that drop the cash to do all the steps to get the suit. And I guess they call that a whale. And I bet they have enough weekly whales that are really helping pay for the game to keep going. So I never want to talk down to those people that are, because you're literally supporting the game if you're paying for all that stuff.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be over $100?
Oh, easily.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I think I want to say we did the math one time on here, and it was Zionic Shadow might even know. But yeah. So yeah, Lucas Gator saying I want more PC and mobile app Gundam games, and yeah, so I for sure we're getting that SD Generation
SD.
Eternal.
mm-hmm.
But to get something like UC Engage, to get something that's just something different that's not necessarily the typical Gundam thing. Oh, and Neon Wave is saying MGSD Freedom. Yeah, that's actually a good one. That's coming out next year. Isn't that the first SD Master Grade?
Which is just silly.
I'm interested to see what they do. Now, if it was, I want to see it first and see someone review it, and then if they come out with a UC type, I might.
It's an interesting first choice too to make it the Freedom.
Yeah. But I guess so. Seed, though, I think it's popular because of the suits.
Mm-hmm.
More so than the show itself.
That's a fair assessment.
Because I'll like when I go to Target and there's suits of the Gundam Universe line or Gunpla, there is Seed stuff, 00, Wing, UC, but you hear people be divisive about Seed, but when it comes to Wing, the people like have that like love for it.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see what else. Oh, Zionic Shadow. This is a good one. More and more Gunpla. But you, sir, I think you've already hit your limit, right? I think he was just saying between his birthday and Christmas, he got a whole lot.
Yeah. Well, it's like you've got the guys that have like just backlogs and backlogs,
Yeah.
and I think I fall into that category where, I mean, did I really need to pre-order the Master Grade Zeta Verka? Probably
Yes.
not. But
yeah. I mean, because let's look at it this way: you have a backlog, right? And then you go to the store and there's a Master Grade Zeta Verka. You would buy it and build it immediately.
True.
I mean that's just one of those. Like I have a backlog right now. I even have that Pale Rider D2 Titans version, which is sick. I just want to make sure I do it perfect. But I'm getting a pre-order I made that's actually shipping is that special 21st century version of the Mark II. I don't know if you remember that had like
That's
cool
awesome.
different
Yeah,
colors.
it's like gray and
yeah. I'm gonna build that immediately when that comes.
That's
in.
a sweet kit.
Yeah.
I was at a Hobby Lobby, doing Christmas shopping for the family, and then I got to the Gunpla section. I'm like, man, 40% off model kits,
Yeah.
and there's like a Moon Gundam here and Goof Custom. It's like I already have a Goof Custom, but like, what could I do with a Goof
Yeah.
Custom? Like, it's
That's true.
oh,
With all your 3D printing ideas, you could probably come up with something. Yeah, and that's where I got the. I haven't built it yet, but the I don't even remember the name. Exia. There you go. That's how much I kind of don't care. But and I think Jedi Sayla posted. She might have got it too. I think I saw her post a picture of Setsuna, the little Setsuna in it. But it's just
yeah,
it's
one
real
day
great,
Setsuna.
and I love the show. I want to, see if I can appreciate it.
It's fair.
Hitachi Cordoba, a non-P Bandai GM Spartan in release of Ecole du Ciel manga. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but I saw that Rogue got the GM Spartan. He posted some pictures in the Discord. Man, I wish I pre-ordered it. I was just like,
It's
I
so
can.
awesome.
Yeah.
But honestly, I think the podcast was live when the pre-order went live, and I think I checked it maybe like 5-10 minutes after the pre-orders went live, and they were gone. So I was like, oh man.
So it was one of those. I bet they're going to make a standard release, and I
Or
see
at
that.
least a second, because I mean, like
Yeah.
with the Efreet Noct and like the Lindworm, those are ones that they've done multiple releases of.
Yeah, the
They
Hazel
typically don't
Master Grade.
convert to a standard release,
So they'll
but
just re-release.
they'll
Yeah.
do some second printings.
And I've noticed that too, because like when I first was getting into Gunpla, I'd see there's Gunpla that I couldn't get that's just sold out. And then like later on, I would look somewhere and see that it's on sale secondhand, not that expensive, or through some shop, not that. And I'm like, oh, I guess eventually, like I was getting all the Advance of Zeta P Bandai suits off Amazon, super
Yeah.
cheap. Like,
Well, and I think that there's a lot of people that will pre-order a bunch of copies of P Bandai kits, assuming that like, oh well, the demand's going to go up. I can sell them secondhand for a bit of a profit, but not all of them typically become as popular.
yeah, I think that's what they kind of look at too. They assume something might or might not be popular. Oh, we'll do a second run because they want the money. I mean, it's not like they don't want the money, and it's not like they're
come
going to
on.
get the money from the secondhand scalpers. You know what I mean? So
Right.
why let that happen when they can get money from legit releases? So,
Yeah.
Lucas Garrett, hopefully a 10-year anniversary special for Gundam Build Fighters and Gundam Build Fighters Try, Adam. Perhaps a 10-year after OVA special or two to see where the characters are and what they've been doing. It's a pipe dream, but a man can dream. Have
That'd
you
be kind of
watched?
cool.
Have you watched the Build Fighters?
Yeah. I mean, Build Fighters Try is my favorite of the Build series. Not a big fan of Build Divers, but and in general, it's not as much of like the kind of Gundam show that you and I tend to enjoy.
Right.
But I mean, the designs in the Gundam Build series are all amazing. Like,
Yeah, and I think it's that thing of like appreciating Gundam, like a celebration of Gundam and Gunpla. And
yeah,
I know I watched Battle Log when that came out on YouTube, and I didn't mind that. I actually liked it, even though it was like super short and got to the point with the action.
yeah,
But I can just see just like answering or just from understanding other Gundam shows that I would totally get into something like Build Fighters. Now that I'm appreciating how anime characters can be written, makes me excited actually to get into it.
yeah. And there's so many like inside jokes and nods to the Gundam fandom in the Build series that like it behooves you to be familiar with the franchise before you watch Build series. I would not recommend that someone start with a Build Fighters show.
And I might have asked this before, but should I just go ahead and start watching that now that I'm like partly through Seed? I mean, is there anything else I need to watch? It
I
almost
wouldn't
doesn't
say
seem like
so.
it. Okay, good. I am in
Yeah, I
the
mean,
part in Seed where they just, and because Robert was asking about it, I think it's his favorite. Is it called a Buku or something?
yeah, the sort of dog.
Yeah. And it was interesting how that was a completely like 3D sort of thing that was going on. It wasn't actually like the hand drawn. That design's a little too far fetched for me. But I can tell with people that like Zoids, maybe that's kind of up their alley. But
Yeah,
for
gotta love
me,
Zoids.
yeah, for me, to me, it started like really the animation in the first place just looks like a children's afternoon show. So when they add that in, it's just when it plays the epic music, it's like, what am I watching? Because this music is epic.
But then I'm watching like Cocomelon.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
um, no, and you know what? I'm surprised never made it into one of the build series is so I have I forget what Gundam what the Gundam's called, but it's like the Gundam version of the Buku from Seed, and it transforms from like a dog into a Gundam.
Oh,
Well, there's a 3D printed resin conversion kit that I also have for it that converts it into the Neko Gundam. So it's like a kitty cat Gundam with like a cute oversized head, and like the little mouth opens up with like a beam cannon inside. And I'm like, that's ripe for build fighters. Like,
oh
if you're gonna have
yeah,
Bear Guy, you might as well have
yeah.
like Neko Gundam. So
But let me ask you, with the resin conversion, and I don't know if it's different across different ones. Does it modify the original kit in a way where then you can't go back?
no, I mean they're kind of replacement parts, so you can swap them on. And honestly, I haven't built it yet because the kit didn't come with instructions. So
Oh,
I'm like, I don't know where all of these. It's just like a bag with all these yellow resin parts, and I'm just like, I don't know how to do this. I'm not gonna.
wow. You know what? An aside, real quick. When I was building a Gunpla the other day, I forgot which one it was, and it was an easy one though. But like at one point, I was like, I don't want to look at the instructions. I just grabbed all the pieces for that thing, and I was like, let's see if I can figure this out. And that actually made it more fun than when I'm actually looking at these. But again, this was for something that's simpler, not like a crazy conversion or a real
Yeah.
grade. But I feel like if it's something that's not too crazy, it's kind of fun to figure it out like a Lego. And I think I
Oh
might
yeah.
start doing that with high grades more because,
Yeah. Most high grades you can kind of figure out.
yeah. Yeah, this was the SD, that SD one I got for Christmas. I remember I was building. I was like, let me just figure this out, and it made it more fun than me going, okay, part 1 to part 2, part 2 to part 3. It was more like, okay, this needs to be an arm. How do I do it? I don't know if anyone else
Yeah, the
tried
only
that.
time you run into some issues is when there's like one of those pieces that it's like this polycap has to be facing this way,
Yeah,
and if you face it this way, it's not going to fit. It'll you can put it together, but it's not going to fit exactly right.
I had that same issue recently with one that I'm gonna make a video about here shortly.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, it was my first time building something like this, and it was a little interesting. Okay, and then user 0i7UQ4NVP or 5P, sorry, says MGSD. So another the Master Grade SD. Okay.
Yeah.
Dark Samurai Neo. I mean, which for Mercury for games Gundam Breaker 3. For Gundams, I don't really got one. For waifus, I guess the Lacus Klein Bunny Girl outfit. I like it a whole lot. Okay, that works.
Fair.
And then this is funny from Frenrir Locuson 9. The Phoenix in Mobile Suit Gundam Battle Operation 2, which, surprise, that came out. Unless you knew something 5 days
Christmas
ago.
came early.
Yeah. But no, that's pretty cool that came out. So, with the main, they've teased narrative suits. They got the
Yep.
narrative suit out of the way. Or the Phoenix. Does that mean they're going to go into Hathaway? I wonder. That would be some
I mean, that's
big old mobile suit on the map. Like the Faz is already like insane.
well, and it's so annoying already when you have somebody that's got the flight type goof that is just kind of like hovering around the map raiding on
Ooh,
everyone.
that's a
Like,
good
can you
one.
imagine all of a sudden now you've got the Penelope or the
Oh,
Kasai Gundam doing that exact same thing, and you're just like, oh, aim up. And
yeah, yeah. I'm really curious what they do with that. If anything, maybe they'll add like a messer and then make the Gundams part of the. And the Kasai is a little smaller, so maybe that would be the one. But yeah, they would make it
one of the
Penelope
boss,
like a
the
boss.
raid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although it's funny because like technically the Kasai is the bad guy and Penelope is the good guy. And when I'm playing SD Gundam Battle Alliance, the DLC on that mission, it's like you're fighting it like it's a bad guy, but it's like, yeah, technically it is. Like, even though you're following Hathaway and everything, yeah, the Gasai is really the bad, yeah, and the Penelope's, and yeah, it's because in a way, I guess it really depends, but it's neat how Gundam can do that with a protagonist. I mean,
Yeah.
they did it with Quattro. They know how to do it.
Hmm.
Okay, so then what are you looking forward to next year in 2023? And yeah, again, anything Gundam related, other than getting the master grade for COD that got delayed, I heard.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I guess hopefully that'll be the last of the delays for it. I mean, that's definitely the number one thing that I would be looking forward to.
Yeah.
I would also be looking forward to since we are coming up on another major milestone anniversary for Gundam. It would be interesting to see if there's anything coming from the Kukuru's Doan's Island
Oh,
anime. I would love to see, can we get some dub copies, some dub Blu-rays sent over our way? Maybe some
excellent
other
point.
episodes that are remastered in the Origin style.
No, that's a good point. Actually, I think that's going to be my number one now. The dub. Now that you say that, because the dub is already in theaters, and I had to miss that. I forget
Hmm.
why, but I had to miss that. I think someone was sick or I was sick.
Yeah, I think one of your kids was sick.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and but I want to see a dub as much as I don't mind that there's not a dub. A dub really pulls me in,
It,
especially when they have the good voice acting, which they tend to do with these Origin ones. I'm like
oh yeah,
super pulled in. Um, yeah, that's a good one. And I guess yeah, for me, I I'm really on this metal robot spirits and like metal build train. It's like I like the robot spirit stuff, but now I'm kind of like I don't want to just buy every robot spirits kit I see and really just focus on do like the metal. And like the Woundwort is coming out soon. I reserved that. So and
sweet.
because they've done the Hazel, the Harududu, the Woundwort, maybe they're going to do some other Advanced of Zeta metal robot spirits. Something as simple as a Quell, a GM Quell, just because that's kind of what started, the whole thing. But yeah, finishing Witch from Mercury Bugle. You know what would be cool is like if they, the gaming aspect. I love video games, obviously, and so Gundam games for sure. Like
Yeah,
I'm happy. Like GBO2 coming out on Steam next year is gonna be fantastic. Just you know, I because actually I have some assumptions in mind. Does the delay mean crossplay and cross saves? Like I hope for that. If not, I don't know. I mean, the game runs better on PS5. I wonder how much more it could run on a PC. That would
yeah.
just be another little icing on the cake, especially if the games are going to be separate. Maybe then they add more stuff to the PC version. Um, but then I hope we get some more cool game announcements. Like, what if we do get on Xbox Game Pass all the Dynasty Warrior Xbox games? I mean, that is like a no-brainer, it seems, to work with
Yeah.
Xbox on that, just to get it in the eyes of more people. See it. Hey, we need to do another Dynasty Warriors. And then also a proper Gundam Breaker game release because I played the new Gundam Breaker, which seemed pretty convoluted. But to
Yeah.
get 3, I had to get it through a foreign shop, and I
Hmm.
feel like that's like another aspect of Gundam that on its own can bring in new fans. So if they continue that Gundam Breaker route in a way, yeah, that would be just another cool thing.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, we'd be getting heavy into speculation territory if we started talking about like, is there another build series in the future for us? If there's another build series, another like a sequel follow up to Battlelog or something like that, that is going to expand on that side of the gaming franchise, what is like the metaverse Gundam stuff gonna bring to the table? Are they gonna
yeah.
kind of shelf the Gundam Breaker video games in favor of metaverse stuff where you can,
Hmm.
are they gonna start introducing like the scanning and all of that stuff? I don't know. I
That's a
think
good
that
one.
there's too many options out there. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, for a solid prediction.
Yeah, in fact, I think your way of thinking is probably the right way to go about it. That they would introduce it more. It would still be, a legacy continuation of that whole Build Fighters idea, but more around the gamification that they're trying to add to it. Because, Gunpla is ripe for that. I loved Amiibos. There was that
Hmm.
Starlink game that first. No, it was on Switch and other systems, but I got on Switch because it had the Star Fox missions and I had the Star Fox ship, the R-Wing.
Yeah.
Loved that, and that was a good game. Probably one of the most underrated games I've played in the past 5 or 10 years whenever it came out. But
Yeah,
um,
Nintendo did a really good job with the amiibos. I
yeah,
was really surprised by that because so many games actually utilized them and also utilized them all for different things. Like,
yeah. I remember using it in Breath of the Wild just to get some. I think you'd get a
yeah,
box. Crates would drop down like every day or something. You had some crates that could drop
and
down.
it was like a different one. Like you could use the Smash Brothers link
Yeah,
in order to get like certain things, and so
and
that was
it
awesome.
seems like a no-brainer with Gunpla. I mean,
Right.
it really does seem like something you would do. Anyway, so I think that really, you know what, but I don't know if this has been discussed before. Like, I know that Thunderbolt Hathaway's getting the TV versions coming out. I think January through like April or February or something. Like, they're gonna be soon. But is there a movie announcement? Or I mean, is the second Hathaway supposed to be this year or 2023?
Man, I hope so because
Yeah.
I'm starting to forget what happened in the first one.
Oh, yeah.
Now, it did have kind of a lame ending, I gotta say. I would almost rather they take their time and really flesh out the story into one, hour and 30-minute movie as opposed to like these little 1 hour vignettes that they've been doing.
Yeah, you know what? That's a good point because the Hathaway movie had me wanting more.
Yeah.
It's like they just did enough to make it so interesting, and then it kind of stopped. And I think then this TV thing has to happen because you have to get people excited again. So I hope that means. And they tend to announce and then drop these movies pretty quick in a short time span. I
Oh
want to
yeah.
say that
They
happened
don't
with
do a lot of build up.
Cuckoo's Doan's Island and Hathaway. It's like they announce it, and then just a few months later. I mean, even though they've talked about it before, but then they'll announce it and drop it. So yeah, I'm hoping then this summer, maybe it's the tradition every summer is a UC based movie. I hope,
That'd
yeah,
be
I
pretty
hope
cool.
that's Hathaway this year. Maybe something out of nowhere like Crossbone. Like I know everyone talks about that. Yeah, that would be cool.
Oh yeah.
Um, okay, so another thing I want to look at real quick was, and I didn't notice this right away when I did my reaction video is all the I was looking at it, oh, it's in its like stationary thing clamped all down, but people
Hmm.
were pointing out how if you really look at the aerial, it has all these different armor parts almost looking like a GPO series Gundam. And I think that is really cool. I'm actually pumped. I mean, but this is like kind of the normal typical Gundam thing. I think
Yeah.
Zeta is the best example. Is you start with the Mark II, which is sick, and then you get the Zeta halfway through, which is sick. And yeah, seeing this new aerial,
It's starting to look more Gundam-y, which
yeah, it's like filling it out. It's giving it that more of that armor. It really gives the GPO vibes. Now with this, now I'm looking at the picture. This one doesn't seem to have that thruster add-on pack that they've announced that they're selling, because with that I noticed the beam sabers are in the bottom of the thruster pack because
mm,
the pack covers the beam saber parts. So we're probably seeing it without the thruster, even though we're seeing some sort of thing sticking out in the back. There's some sort of binder.
mhm.
I'm really liking what I'm seeing here. This, like where they have lines or little divots, this is more of the type of design I like in a Gundam. Like even the arm.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like I'm looking at a GM or RX-78 too, in terms of where the lines are and the little details to make it look realistic. Um, yeah, I'm totally digging it.
That's pretty sweet.
Ian is saying the thruster pack got blown up anyway. Oh, so is that separate then, from what I'm thinking?
Well, I mean, yeah, they built that thruster pack just for the one-time use, but
Oh, against Elon in his
mhm,
Fair Act. That's right. So that's something separate. Yeah.
yeah.
Interesting. So then, okay, good call there. It would be interesting then to see what type of binder thruster system it uses. Like, That it's like the
I just hope that it doesn't keep going, the way of like the Barbatos, where you've got like, six forms of
oh,
of
that has been
aerial.
so confusing for me because I haven't fully gotten into IBO yet. But when I will see the Barbados in games, and yeah, there's all those different versions.
And that was definitely that was a Gunpla thing. Is they were like, how many kits can we get people to buy if we?
Yeah,
And that's
yeah,
a shame.
yeah. But I like the way they're going with this. I'm really excited to see. And I was just looking too. I'm even getting more. Even Zionic Shadow is saying it's giving him GPO vibes. If you think
Hmm.
about the GPO 1FB, like the shoulders, how it has, like, if we look at the blue behind the shoulders here, it looks like there is something bigger. And it even looks like on the right hand side, maybe part of it is coming down behind it. So it could be something, yeah. I love that stuff. So if it has a cool binder looking system, that's going to make it one of the coolest designs recently of a non-UC Gundam.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then something to make everyone jealous is I saw like how they have this like metal structure Sazabi that's over $1,000. Like, my God, and I guess they're coming out with this option parts, Rulula.
The
That's
Rulula Laboratory.
Char's ship. Yeah, the option part set for it, and like, yeah, and it shows in the U.S. it's sold out. Japan, but I
Naturally.
guess that's for the option part. But
Mm,
because
yeah.
there was the new Gundam version that came out as well, metal structure, over $1,000, maybe close to $3 if you want to get it. I saw, and so again, my first thought is like, oh, it's a model kit, but it's not. It's just a
No.
giant action figure. That's like my type of thing, but for that amount of money, and that's the thing.
Maybe that's a Patreon goal that we
Yeah.
need to put up there
Oh
for
my
you.
God.
If we get the Gundam Explained Patreon up to,
Yeah, right. It's funny because I sometimes think, okay, what are some things that I would spend that much on, that I have spent that much on? Really, the only thing I can think of is my gaming computer, but I use it for so much that
yeah,
it's paid for itself. Whereas, man, buying something like this, I would have to be very comfortable with my financial situation to really buy that. Um, ah,
yeah.
I'd love to. Um,
I love
uh,
Shar Aznavour, but not that much.
yeah, yeah. And then I was just looking at P Bandai just to see, like, they have some cool clothes, shirts, and they have that
Mhm.
metal composite fixed figuration. Again, like 210. Yes, I've dropped that much on a Gundam before, but it's like to do it for everything, you can't. I mean, I can't.
Now, see, I think that you are probably like maybe 2 or 3 years behind getting into Gundam. This was back in like 2015, 2014, I want to say. Um, on Amazon, there were these like fraudster sellers that had a $50,000 100% metal strike Gundam that was for sale. And it was like made out of like solid, it looked like it was gold. Um, didn't say how big it was. There was no like information about it. All you had was a picture of like a golden strike Gundam, and then it said $50,000, and then no details. But then the reviews were phenomenal because you had the people that would log in and put their reviews in, and they were like, "Oh man, you guys have no idea how many times I bailed my comrades out of the fire using this mobile suit. This thing is built sturdy as a rock, and it has magnet coating, so all of my joints move extra fast. I felt like I was the Red Comet himself."
Wow, that's hilarious because I'm guessing it was fake, so that was just people making fun of it with the
Oh yeah, yeah.
reviews. Yeah, that's hilarious. Ah, yeah, that's crazy.
So I wish that those listings were still on Amazon, but I'm 95% sure that they got shut down.
Wow. Yeah, I would think so. That is actually pretty crazy. Um, and then there's that Jabera Tetra Kai robot spirits that's coming out. That's pretty sick. And
That's a
then the
sweet mobile suit.
RX-78 with rollout colors, which that looks fantastic. But Oh, that's interesting. Oh, you can put the parts on. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, again, that's me looking at Robot Spirits, but I, I've already have some pre-orders where I'm just not grabbing anything yet for now.
Yeah, I mean, nothing really, nothing jumps out at me out of these either. So,
Yeah, yeah. Let me look. Anyone else have anything that they're looking forward to? Oh, Matt Wheaton's looking forward to that Jabera Tetrakai. Yeah, that looks. Oh, Ian Hansen, that's funny. He's saying Enthusiast is probably getting that metal structure because I don't know if you guys seen Enthusiast's posts in the Discord, but he has like any mobile suit or any type of collectible giant large scale action figure ever, like, and not just that, even like stuff from Aliens, which I'm a fan of, and it's like, whoa, man, how did oh man, so many things. That's yeah, that's hilarious.
some good stuff.
Well, I think that's it. Good show. 2023 is looking cool for Gundam. And I think that's it. Steven, anything else you wanted to bring up?
No, no, I think you pretty much touched on everything.
Cool. Well, cool. Well, yeah, everyone, thanks for joining. Lots of fun as always. Lots to talk about. Yeah, join us in the Discord if you haven't. Oh, WebFox, good to see you. Oh, NeoX, good to see you too. But yeah, check the links in the description because there's ways to support the channel if you want, because there are some exclusives with that. We're gonna be planning out the movie night in the G-Watch.
Sorry to cut you off,
No.
but did you mention new merch?
Oh, that's a good one. I'm glad. See, when you cut me off, it's for a reason.
Oh yeah,
The,
and I meant to say it earlier, but I was like, I don't know if he actually launched that merch yet. So
Yeah, no, actually, there's a link, or not only is there a link, maybe, but I think there's an ad too with a QR code, but also in YouTube there should be a thing because I made new stuff. I have something with the Hazel screenshot I created with the action figure. I have the Bamco Nandai shirt. I finally got that made, and I have a Gundamaniac shirt also, and I'm gonna be buying some of these for myself. I already got some trucker hat coming in because I like to wear my trucker hats. So I have one coming in with the little, I call it the V ring. I hope that's not something sexual that I don't know about, but I'm calling it a V ring.
not to my knowledge.
Okay, good. Because I thought that was a pretty good idea for the logo since it's like a V fin but in a circle. Anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, and Zionic Shadow is saying he's coming out with new merch also, and his the link is, or the QR code for the shop is there, but Zionic Shadow also has his ad here, and his link for his shop is also in the description. So, and you know what? Ian and Robert saying Happy New Year's. So yeah, Happy New Year's everyone too, because this is the last show.
See y'all next year.
Yeah. Yeah, that joke gets old. No, but anyway, everyone, thanks a lot, and yeah, we'll see you later.